Um, More than welcome in this session, joining forces to boost sustainable digital transformation about Europe at the CITYxCITY Festival. Welcome to all participants, and more than welcome to two special guests. It's Julián Francisco Illana Rodríguez. It's General Director of European Funds and Projects from the City of Zaragoza. And also welcome to Eddy Hartog, Head of Unit Smart Mobility and Living from DG Connect European Commission. What we are going to try to do in this 30 minutes, in this really short session, we would like to get you familiar with the European way of digital transformation. And of course, discuss how every community, small, big, mid-size, can enjoy the economic, environmental, and social benefits of this sustainable digital transition. And at the end, we also launched a platform that is ready now for this, supporting this movement from Living Anew and all the ambitions and goals. Feel free to ask questions in the chat, in the session, and my colleague Johannes Onland will handle this and make sure we're gonna answer them in the time we have. Okay, let's start with an introduction from Living in the EU. And time is short to explain the whole history, but I think it's good to explain what is already accomplished by this movement. So Eddy, may I give you the floor?
Thank you very much, Joost. Thank you for having me today again at the OASC Festival, different than from other years, but equally valid. And particularly, I must say, I like the global dimension this time. In this session, we'll focus, of course, on the European Union and the European way, and we have a few conversations about that. But I'm really delighted that we can do that while the people in Asia are sipping their post-dinner coffee, and the people on the American side, both north and south and in the middle, are preparing for breakfast. And it is a unique opportunity for me, actually, representing the European Union. In my previous life, I've been responsible for the maritime policy in the Arctic, the Atlantic, and in the Caribbean oceans. And it's rare that I've had my friends from the north of Europe together with the people from the Canarias and from the Caribbean parts of the European Union. So I'm really delighted that they're there. And I would also encourage them to contribute to the chat on that. So really, that's really what we have done. But then going back to the movement, why is it important that it is a European movement and why it is at the same time global? We have decided that we need to find a way for the digital transformation for cities to do it together more efficiently, get better services, get collective services, and also build that European identity that we have together. And you will have a session later on what this movement has done and the various work strands, etc. But I would like to focus on what we have already achieved. And it is with the help, of course, of OASC that we have achieved that. First of all, we said we need to have a common technological foundation, a common technical background. And through the technical specifications, which are largely based on the minimal interoperability mechanisms, we have established that for the European Union cities that have signed the declaration. They said, that's the way we would like to go. And of course, we hope that many will join this in this conversation. Secondly, we said, how do you measure actually what we are doing in the digital transformation in the European Union? And we have a work stream, which is not finalized yet, where we look at the monitoring and measuring. And next week, when we have the next plenary session of the signatories of the declaration, we will discuss how we work further on this. Later on, I will talk a little bit about the money, which is, of course, very specifically EU, because the funds coming from the EU is member states and the cities themselves. But I think we can maybe do that in the conversation. I'm really delighted that every time I meet in OASC or in other formats, I meet a new city that may have signed already a long time ago, but a new city where both at political and technical level, there is a commitment to do this together at the European Union, so that all the levels of government in the European Union work together to provide our common citizens that better quality of life. So I'm really delighted to be here today with Julián, representing Jorge from Zaragoza.
Okay, thank you very much. Before introducing yourself, Julián, we are going to watch a short movie introducing the city of Zaragoza.
Zaragoza is sun and wind, fresh air and flowing water. It is clean energy. Zaragoza is one of the most dynamic cities in southern Europe. A logistic powerhouse driven by the sun and the wind, which makes us an international benchmark in renewable energy production, all set to lead the European Green Deal. Will you be part of the change? The transformation has begun with a new energy generation model. Clean energy right there on our doorstep. Our surroundings already cleanly produce all the energy we consume. And in 2025, we will generate locally and sustainably 400% of the city's current electricity demand. We will attain energy self-sufficiency thanks to new hydraulic storage systems for the accumulation of surplus sustainable energy. In Zaragoza today, almost 50% of journeys are on foot. Ours is a comfortable city with no traffic jams, which moves thanks to a solid public transport network and cyclable lanes. Clean and efficient mobility, where private vehicle use is in the minority. But together, we can do far more. Zaragoza Green Mobility Deal is planning 100% sustainable and self-sufficient public transport, thanks to hydrogen, the wind and the sun, clean energies generated in our region. A kindly, accessible and slow city that stands out for intelligent management of the public services and of the urban distribution of goods by land and by air. Zaragoza Green Mobility Deal has an objective to fight climate change and enhance air quality. We will promote the signing and rolling out of the Climate City contract with businesses, civil society and local, national and European governments as a framework for governance committed to the environment. In addition, we will make progress in CO2 absorption with the reforestation of unproductive land and the development of circular economy with the transformation of urban organic waste into compost for our green spaces. Zaragoza Green Mobility is a pilot project that is already underway and will be a 100% executed reality in 2030. A pro-climate city, opting for sustainable, healthy, safe, accessible, intermodal and electric mobility, which will serve as a benchmark and campus for innovation and research for over 100 European cities with similar urban characteristics, with which we will share all the knowledge and expertise to be climate-neutral cities. Will you join the challenge? We are R&D. We are reality. We are future.
Much. This is a great movie. Julián, can you tell us something more about, of course, this movie and the strategy that the city follows to become sustainable and resilient, but also about yourself?
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And first of all, express my gratitude for the invitation to participate in this very important event in the world of innovation and sustainability. As we have seen in the video, our city, Zaragoza, is currently recognized European actor in logistics, sustainable and smart mobility, as well as in different aspects of innovation. In the coming years, the city will strengthen this position through various initiatives already underway, and we'll also strengthen our existing links with relevant innovations networks at Living in Europe or Eurocities. I consider it essential for global projects, not yet European, that in cities we put in maximum efforts for determining areas for the global future: transport, energy, the environment, and innovation. In Zaragoza, we are developing ambitious policies to transfer all of our transport to clean energy systems and models of new urban mobility. Likewise, we are working on a project to generate our own clean electricity with wind farms located in a radius of less than 30 kilometers away. And we have just started the Bosque de los Ciudadanos in Spanish. It's a forest that supposes an ambitious reforestation project in the municipality of Zaragoza with 500,000 trees. In addition, among our aspirations and projects in innovation, I want to highlight three main sections: infrastructure, citizen tools, improvements in the commercial sector, and logistics. In the first sections of innovative infrastructures, incubation, startups, and citizen tools, we work intensively to promote a local ecosystem of creative and technological startups in three already consolidated incubators, like La Terminal, Etopia, and CIEM or Zaragoza Activa. These ecosystems has been promoted to include the startups from new technological fields like e-health, cybersecurity, e-sports, or artificial intelligence, as well as ICT and new training programs to include new users and startups. Currently, more than 150 startups and innovation projects with around 400 qualified jobs are permanently incubating in our local innovation ecosystems. In addition, our citizen card, with 250,000 active users, is a widely used payment tool to guarantee access to 16 services in the city, including transports. We intend to enlarge its scope by creating an European citizenship card and an international tool for EU cities. Within the Eurocities network, Zaragoza and Gijón are the two cities that lead the initiative to create a European citizen card seal. This technology transfer initiative, together with 8 other European cities in the first project, is the first project of the laboratory of the Knowledge Society Forum of the Eurocities network, recently created to scale up smart city pilots throughout Europe. In the second block, that of innovation and improvement for the commercial sector, in the wake of the first and the second waves of the pandemic, the city established in 2020 a wide range of innovative programs to support local retail. Under this umbrella, a complete package of more than 11 million of direct and indirect finances was rolled out, including 3 major initiatives. It was the first was a microcredit plan worth 8.5 million euros. The loan amount at an interest of 0% ranged between 5,000 and 10,000 euros and provided liquidity to local entrepreneurs. The second initiative was the app We Will Come Back If You Come Back, with discounts of up to 50% in local stores, which generates an additional credit for the user to spend in other stores affiliated with the program. Third, we allocated additional funds to 2 other smart city prototypes for retail digitalization. One was the modeling of a digital replica for one of the city's main shopping streets in order to understand how local shops breathe in correlation with their energy consumption. And the second consisted in the implementation of an experimental city control panel to monitor the pulse of retail throughout the city. In the medium term, and thinking about the post-COVID period, we are designing a new digitalization plan for local stores, improving street and commercial areas and that have been abandoned or affected by the crisis. This ambitious initiative plans to regenerate small shopping malls with 5G and promote new pedestrian corridors in them. The third block, and the last one, of innovation in commercial logistics is the last mile deliveries. The City Council, together with different actors from the city, is carrying out different initiatives within the logistics perspective. I highlight 3 especially relevant. The first one is a European Senator project, a 4-year project financed by within the Horizon Europe call to shape a new model of sustainable urban logistics for the last mile. The second is the Zero Up, an innovative project with the sustainability management of 0 kilometers logistics as a service for local companies, totally sustainable and ethical in work. And the third is the call Zaragoza Smart City Smart Retail, which includes a network of ticket offices located throughout the city to collect online purchases at any time outside of business hours and create a pilot of smart stores. This is, broadly speaking, the activity in terms of innovation that we are developing in Zaragoza, and we consider absolutely essential to achieve an advanced city that provides answers to the problems of our citizens in their daily lives that thanks to the technology. And that's all. Thank you very much for your attention, and I will answer your questions if I can.
Thank you very much, Julián. I think it's a great example of how digital transformation helps to accelerate the whole working together in the ecosystem, the innovation ecosystem. But also, it's nice to hear the steps you take in this joint investment to showcase how Zaragoza is one of the leading examples in this living in the EU ambitions. Eddy, can you also tell something about how we are mobilizing these funds to adopt and implement this common, great existing digital solution on a large scale in the EU?
Yeah. No, first of all, I need to compliment Zaragoza on its leadership there. For example, that smart city card is a potential one, also very visible for our citizens. So I think it's a very interesting presentation. And it's not only Zaragoza, a lot of Spanish cities are very active parts of the Living in .eu movement. I would even say they're sort of quantitatively the leaders there. And even though there's many more others now, but we have a good spread of cities. So that's my first point. Second point is what Julián was just describing doesn't come for free. It requires vision, it requires commitment, but it also requires investment from the city side. And these investments need to be done upfront. And we feel that with recovery and resilience, there's a unique opportunity to accelerate that now. Now, we've already been planning the multi-annual financial perspectives of the European Union, and you've heard Khalil mention some of the investments that we would like to help with at European level, particularly to make all of these efforts gel together through the Digital Europe program, urban digital twins, AI-driven services. So there's a number of elements that we can do there, but the EU funds are very limited. I was very pleased to hear the Slovenian minister talk about the 60 million program also for his cities. I mean, it's something that we forget, but also the cohesion policy funds allow for big investments, and I think we would encourage everyone also to look at those. So I would love to know more details, but that's for later. But I think what we have really focused on for the moment in the movement is the potential offered by the Recovery and Resilience Funds. The additional money that we didn't expect, that we need to spend 20% on digital, and Khalil mentioned the number of over 100 billion that need to be spent on digital investments. And it's really important that the cities engage with their national authorities to make that room. And we, with Eurocities in particular, in the lead in the financial group of our movement, but also many others, have tried to help the cities to do that in a joined up way. If we have the same type of investments, if we have the same type of milestones that we agree on, if we have the same type of procurements even where we can help each other. As I said in the beginning, it can be done more efficiently. It can be done with better services for the citizens all over. But it also really builds a European Union feeling from the bottom up. And I think that is equally important in these days where there are all sorts of discussions on the European Union. So that is really what I would like. And I must say the Zaragoza role is very important for us and the Spanish cities and the lead that they have taken on that. And I hope that they also in Spain will look at the Recovery and Resilience Fund, but also all the other member states. Slovenia was mentioned, but I'm looking at you, Joost, also in the Netherlands. I hope that the penny will drop at a certain moment to actually make sure that we use these funds productively at the direct benefit or a visible benefit of our citizens.
Okay, I think there are still no additional questions in the chat. So before we go to lunch, I have one more question for you both. What do you expect from the Living in the EU movement this year? Eddy, you already said something about it, but for this year, what's the main ambition the most important goal?
A real joint investment plan built on the modules that we take from the RRF plans.
Okay, that's clear. Great. And you, Julián?
I think Europe is an opportunity to improve those alliances that the alliances between cities and between territories. And it is true that each city has a unique personality, but also we have shared problems, and living in Europe. Living in Europe allow us to learn from other cities and apply help by economies of scale, and without losing our character, technological, financial, or legal experience, our problems. I think that it's a very nice place to share our problems and share our experiences, and that's what I expect to continue with this opportunity.
Okay, thank you. I think that's a clear sign. And what you plan to do in this session is that we're going to support all these ambitions with a platform, the Living EU platform. It's ready today, and I think we're just going to start with a 2 short trailer. Okay, Eddy, can you tell us something more? And I think it's good if we can share the screen with the platform, so we have a first view for everybody. Can you tell something more about how we can join this Living in the EU movement?
Yeah. So first of all, what you've just done with these few seconds of the video and the launch of the platform, you really go from a static declaration, because a declaration is only a point in time, to a movement and a possibility to communicate interactively. And I think that is important. I think it's also important that you have positioned it, and we haven't been explicit about it yet, in an overall ecosystem of working together, whether that's through the OASC, whether that is through the Intelligent Cities Challenge that Dana just referred to in the previous session, or whether that is through the marketplace. There's various instruments in place to engage collectively in this European effort. So I think it's very important that you go from the static to the dynamic, and that is what I see that we're doing today, that we're launching. I hope also that going from the static to the dynamic will give a new dynamism and impetus for cities to sign. First of all, we have the cities that need to sign. There's a process for that. It needs to be e-signed so that we can actually verify the signature of your political masters. Otherwise, there's no point if anyone can just click, you don't get the real commitment. So that is what cities need to do. If there's any problem, you contact me and we will sort that out. So that's the first way that we want to do. I already mentioned in the beginning that this is it's focused on the EU, but it's not a closed system. The technical specifications, the monitoring and measuring, all of that will be available for our global partners, and we have discussions there, but also for business partners. And you find a lot of support as well from other groups, so not the cities themselves, but from the support groups. There's a possibility to support. My favorite one, and I don't know, Joost, whether you can show that, is the one where we actually allow all 450 million citizens in the European Union to say, I like this, and they can give a like there. Now, I think it would be nice if we can show that, but it's really this idea of building up the movement together that we're launching today. And a movement together means working together, exploring things together, financing things together, developing things together. And that is what you're launching with this new tool, which I find is fantastic evolution of what we have tried to do. Yes, to submit your idea, really engages with citizens, and it's a new way also for the European Commission of developing policy, really in the middle of all the other colleagues and not sort of on top of all the other colleagues. And again, it's very important to do all of this together. Now, I'm sure you will explain how this can work, and I'm sure that there will be help if people can't get this done. But I really encourage people, certainly also those that have already signed, to actually join in and become active. And those of you that are listening to it and say, hey, am I missing a train? Yes, you are. So please, you make sure that you join this movement as quickly as possible.
Okay, I think that's a good introduction. And I just lost where you can find the like button, but just go to the site Living in EU, sign the declaration or support the declaration. You can find all this information about the different working groups and all the results where they are working on, which cities already joined the movement. And please, if you have questions, just well, ask us or send an email to join@livingin.eu, and we're sure we're gonna sort out. So for now, I think it's time. It's always really a short, brief introduction, but thank you very much from the city of Zaragoza, Julián. Thank you very much also for replacing the mayor in short notice. Eddy, thank you very much, and all the participants, thank you very much for listening. And please go to the site and join the declaration.